jingle bells, jingle all the way.
I was just about to start singing.
Let's
It's the most wonderful time of the. We had two different Christmas carols in our heads. But what's up, y'all? It
what's
is the
cracking,
holiday
everybody?
season.
Yes, I guess this is our holiday episode, right?
This is our holiday episode. So I'm Melanie Lauren,
And I'm Hollee Chanel,
and
and
this
this is
is
dipped with
with
sweet and
Sweet and
hot. That's what we do. We get dipped, we get sweet, we get hot,
and we get a little bit hot.
and then we package
Yeah,
it up and we give it to you. And
that's
you know,
right.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. Probably leaving out a few other holidays that people celebrate, but happy holidays, y'all.
What's that Seinfeld Festivus?
Festivus for the rest of us? Yes, I have seen that episode, huh? Shout out to the Seinfeld fans. We got a good one for y'all. I think we got a
Me
good holiday
too.
episode. What you think, Holly?
I think it is action packed, as much as it can be on a podcast.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but but let's get into it. So, typically we start our episodes off with what's sweet and what's hot. Listen, and I'm already looking at Melanie's eyebrow raised up in her forehead, so I'm just going to assume that I'm going to be the person to kick things off with the sweetness of it all. So,
You know me so
well,
well.
know you so well. So what is sweet for me is we're in that time of year where you start to be very reflective about the year that you've had and how you've gone through, and hopefully you don't look like the things that you've been through, and
Mm, mm, mm.
all that jazz. But what is sweet with me is that as I began my reflection, I became very proud of how well and how successfully I have navigated all the change that has happened this
Mm.
year.
Tell us
And
about
that, well, first of all, let's say it, Saints, that's atypical, okay? Because when
it.
things change, things go haywire. Hollee loses her shenanigans and it's over with, right? But this time I said, nay, no, not. I will ride these waves. I will navigate these waters as the expert sea woman I am.
Okay.
And basically, what it boils down to is just giving yourself grace, right? Like, I think a lot of times I go into a thing thinking that I have to be all there, all knowing, all producing, performing, like just with it at 100% right at the start. And that's
Yeah.
just unreasonable.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's unfair
it's
to yourself.
it's unfair. Yeah, it's unfair and unreasonable to myself. And so this time I laid out like a clear path of things that I wanted to accomplish. And I prayed a lot. I prayed a
Mhm.
whole lot. I had
Always a
people
good
pray,
decision.
right, always. At the end of it, even when things get hard or got hard, what I ended up doing was just saying, breathe, stop, shake, let it go.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just breathe on it and think about it. Take a beat, take a moment, and give yourself grace for where you are in that moment. Because a lot of times when you're pushing to the next thing or trying to get something, you really don't take stock of or place value in the things that you have achieved, no matter how large or how small. The fact that I was able to do that for myself, I'm gonna just say without losing my shit, that is very sweet. I am happy. I feel good going into 2024. And that is what is sweet with me.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, listen, I'm proud of you. For context, just so the people know, I'm not gonna tell all your business, but just so people
No,
know,
that's
like
fine. That's fine. I'm open book.
I think that'd be important for them to know that one of the big changes that you were talking about that you navigated successfully is getting laid off unexpectedly from your job.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's a huge transition that unfortunately many people go through. And a lot of the times you don't see it coming and you got to figure out how to survive and how to live out here. And so naturally, a panicked response, of course, is a natural human response. And so the fact that you were able to do that and successfully navigate the change without quote unquote losing your shit and like riding the waves and trusting God and doing all this stuff, very, very sweet indeed.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. I gotta take a minute because I'm chuckling. The reason why Melanie is bringing up my layoff is because of the way that it happened. I got y'all friends, family I got laid off on my first day of vacation. Okay.
Whew.
And as you will come to find, if you don't already know, I'm slightly ignorant. And so I literally told the HR lady, I said, has no one seen Friday? You do not fire somebody on their day off. Like, what are
It's
we
in
doing
the
with ourselves?
movie.
It's in the movie. Okay. And
Friday.
so it's not my first time being laid off. Right. And so your first instinct is to panic because you're like, how am I going to survive? How am I going to adult? I cannot call my mama for money, right? Like these
Mhm.
were all the first things that go through your head. But then I thought about a previous experience of being laid off. And what I quickly got to was that God didn't fail me then. God has not failed me yet. And he will
Preach.
not fail me now. And
Talk about it.
so that kind of changed. Yeah, that kind of changed the tenor. I did have to sit on the toilet for a while just to get all of that out, just to,
Uh-oh.
sit with it. But here's what the funny thing is. So Melanie calls me and she is so chipper and upbeat. And she's like, hey friend, did you sleep well? I was like, yeah, I slept pretty good. She was like, so what are we gonna do today? And I said, well, I'm gonna go get laid off first. And then and she was like,
What? Whatever I thought she was gonna say, it wasn't that. I thought maybe she was
right.
gonna say, "Yeah, I'm feeling like a lay out by the pool day. It's feeling like a girl, I don't know." But that's what we dealt with that day.
That's what we dealt with that day. And I had known that I was getting laid off because I started my appointment wasn't until the afternoon, and I started getting phone calls from other colleagues because it was a mass layoff. So I started getting phone calls like 4 hours before my meeting. So I knew what was happening. I am grateful that I wasn't blindsided, right? That I did have that time to prepare and to internalize it so that I could, breathe on it. And then let me tell y'all something. If y'all ever need a prayer, if you are ever in need of intercessory prayer, of prayer, if you ever need a prayer, you call Melanie Lauren, okay? Miss Melanie prayed over me so hard. I said, well, I'll just be fine. And I promise you, I woke up the next morning and got a job, y'all. I promise. I tell no
The very
lies.
next day.
The very next morning, I woke up and I had a job. So
Now
God is good
listen,
all the
let's be clear. It wasn't me or my prayer that did that. It was God who did that. But I'm
Amen.
glad that the prayer was comforting for you. And I know God heard us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so that's the whole story in totality.
That
Melanie,
is the whole story. Okay, we're gonna go into what's
why
hot
is your
now.
eyebrow your hairline?
We were just talking about God, huh? Ooh, everybody don't have the same kind of, I don't even know what to call it. Let me stop trying to make general statements and just tell y'all what happened, okay?
Okay.
I am hot. A couple of weeks ago, I came on here and I told you guys, Hollee had said dating was trash, right? And I said,
Yes.
Hollee, I hear you, but not all dating is trash. Here's case in point, example A, exhibit 1, 2, 3 of a nice dating experience that I had. And I told y'all about this young man that I met at the Jerk Chicken Hood spot.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked and we kind of noticed each other about the fact that we both looked like we were dressed like as we had come from church. It was a Sunday. And we went out and had a nice dinner at the same
Right.
place. And oh, this really was a good first day, right? So I was like, Hollee, dating is not trash. There's still some good dates out here.
Mm-hmm.
Dun,
So
dun,
what
dun.
happened, friend? What happened, friend?
Oh, I got to give y'all an update. And I can laugh now, but let me tell you, your girl was hot, heated, okay? Boiling, combustible, if you will. So, how do I make this short and simple? Okay, so the first thing that I got to tell y'all, Hollee holds a whole lot of certifications and random things. And one of the things is she should have a license in. I don't even know if you need a license, but she should be a private eye because every time I meet somebody new, Hollee, she really just needs 2.5 seconds to dig up this person's whole life, blood type, past residence addresses, mother's maiden name, all of that. She got it, okay? There have
It's
literally
true.
been
It's true.
times when I don't know how she does it. Honestly, I don't need to know how she does it. There was this one time that I was talking to her. I was telling her about this guy that I met, and literally while I'm on the phone with her, she's like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I start seeing texts come through. and she is texting me this man's mugshots. Okay. And screenshots of his public arrest records for different things. I said, well, hot damn. This one ain't going nowhere. Thanks. Thanks, Debbie the Downer.
Listen, I'm so sorry. I don't do it on purpose. It is out of protection for a friend. I don't be cock blocking because I want to be happy for you, right? But what's the point in like wasting my happiness if it's not warranted? And I don't think mugshots warrant my cheerleading you being with my homie.
It's truth that needs to be known. I will give you that. She will find out people's real last names before I do. It's just a lot. But anyway, all to say, she starts digging up on this man true to form, she starts digging up on this man that I tell her about because he told me a few details about himself. I did not ask him and he did not tell me his last name. But based on the information that I gave her, she starts digging and she's like, huh, okay, well, next time you talk to him, ask him his last name because I think I found somebody, but like, I don't know if this is him. So I'm like, okay, cool. We have a great first date. We go on the second date. And I do ask his last name during the course of the second date, file that in the back of my mind so that I can tell her the next time I talk to her, we have a good conversation, have a good time on the second date too. And one of the things that we talked about on the second date, I told you we kind of bonded over the fact that, we both go to church regularly and all of that. And so he had talked about how he doesn't like to miss Sundays. And so I was just like, oh, that sounds like somebody who has like some duties or activity or something that they do on Sundays, like they're involved in the life of the church. And so I was like, hey, so what do you do at your church? Like, do you have any like responsibilities or any groups that you're in or anything for stuff you have to do on Sundays? Like, I thought maybe he was gonna say like, oh, I'm part of the media team, so I gotta make sure the stream is okay.
Right.
But he says, no, I'm just a pew member because, I used to be more involved with things, but I found that like knowing too much about what was going on behind the scenes was interfering with my worship. So I just took a step back and I'm a pew member. And so I was like,
Okay.
then okay. I mean, I can kind of understand what he's talking about there. So I was just like, all right, cool. Move on, whatever. So close the date. I talked to Hollee and I'm like, yeah. So date was good. Oh, by the way, here's his last name. And I told her what we talked about. I was like, yeah, he said, he's just a pew member, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, wait, what's his last name? So I told her again. Here come the screenshots.
So friends, what you have to know, for the first time she met him, I did my preliminary research and really I just needed the last name as a formality. I figured that this was the guy. And so what I ended up doing was compiling a dossier essentially in the event that the name did bear out to be this person. So when she gave it to me, all I had to do
was
was
hit
press
send.
send on the dossier that I had prepared.
Oh my gosh. So I tell her the last name. And so here they come. Here come the screenshots. And she's like, is this him? Y'all, it was a rhetorical question. She knew it was him. Not only is this man not a pew member, like he said those words to me verbatim. Not only is he not a pew member,
Tell him what he is, girl.
is the pastor of the church.
What?
If I'm lying, I'm flying. I swear, y'all, who lies about that? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? And there is no way. How? Of all things you gonna lie. And here's the other thing that's crazy, y'all. He armed me with all the necessary information to find this out very easily. Like he told me the name of the church. He told me that on day one. He told me all this stuff about himself. All you got to do is Google front and center, his face, pastor.
Wait, with recent sermons.
Videos of recent sermons. So, I'm kind of hot about lying ass pastors. Let's just call it that, huh? Sorry for the language. It's how I felt in the moment.
Ass pastor.
Yeah, man. So, I'm just gonna say if you can do those two things together, you're gonna be a pastor and you're gonna lie about it. I'm gonna go ahead and say one of these two things don't go together. It's like those pictures, like which one of these doesn't, pick the
Doesn't
one that
belong.
doesn't go. Like you need to check some things, bro. Like that's really all I'm gonna say. And he may never hear this because I don't talk to him anymore. But people, let's be honest about some basic things in our lives, okay? Like what are we doing here when we gotta lie about that? Maybe we shouldn't be in this dating game. I don't know. It's cause for self-reflection, and that's what I was hot about. I pray for him. Exactly. Lewis said pray for him. You know what? Honestly, Lewis, you are right. You are right. That is the Christian thing to do. And I'm gonna do it, okay?
Okay. 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 I just don't understand why we lying about our relationship with God though. Like, okay, so let me
Yeah,
so let me ask you a question real quick because you are a preacher's kid, right?
am.
A PK. All right. So I tried to give a little grace to do because I was like, there are women whose ultimate goal is to be first lady. Like, you know how there are gold diggers? There are like sometimes there are pastor diggers, right? They just want to be in the number. They want to sit on the pew. They want to have the biggest hat in the church and get all the reverence. Is that a fear for pastors so much, for single pastors, I should say, so much that it warrants being untruthful about your position and status in the church?
I'm gonna go ahead and say, is that enough for you to lie about being a pastor? I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Like, thank you, and that was a nice try. Here's the thing: I actually asked my father that same question because my father was 21 when he got married, and he had also just recently accepted his call to the ministry, was headed to seminary, so he was a young man, and I was just like, I know the answer to this question, but let me ask him, is there any way, any world in which this feels acceptable? Because I get you, there are people, you got to have some kind of way to weed out people who have true intentions versus, they're just
Right.
looking for status or whatever. Funny thing about me is if he'd have gotten taken a chance to get to know me a little bit better, he would have known he didn't have to worry about that from me at all. Okay. In all caps, I'm not interested in that life. I love my dad. I love my mom. I wouldn't trade my family, my childhood for anything. But I've also seen a lot and experienced a lot about what it's like being a first family that's not so glitzy and that's not so good,
Mm-hmm.
especially the pressure that's on the first lady. Y'all can have that. I'm not interested. So, now if that's who God got for me, we'll rock with it. But am I chasing that? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay,
Absolutely not. So I
so
asked
I'm
my
gonna
dad, I was like, hey, is there any way that this can happen? He's like, no. Cause here's the thing, you gotta find a way to weed out with still keeping your integrity intact. You can't just be out here just
oh,
lying about
that's the
who you
real tea.
are and about what's going on. Like you gotta find some other way to discern and ask God to help you to discern. But just being out here telling people you're a pew member and you're a pastor, that's not it, bro. There's no way to justify it.
So I'm gonna dub this one. We're gonna call him Sunday Jerk,
I'm
and
fine with that.
I'm assuming that he gets coal in his stocking this holiday season.
That's between him and whoever he's in relationships with this season because he doesn't have one with me. I don't know what he's gonna get and don't care. Huh?
Okay, so speaking, she said, huh? So, okay, so did you and your family do the whole stocking and coal thing for the for Christmas growing up, like in your
Okay.
holiday tradition?
So let's we okay. So
So that brings us to the meat of the episode. What are your holiday traditions? Because like it was news to me when I found out that like people actually put coal in stockings.
I never knew that anybody actually did that. So yeah, okay, so let's get into it because I'm thinking of a couple I mean, I heard about like it as a myth or whatever, but somebody
Mm-hmm.
actually putting coal in a stocking, I never knew that that actually happened. But it made me
Okay.
think about like, we talked about adulting last episode. So continuing on that theme and just like being grown, it was like, what are some of the holiday traditions you had in your family and you experienced as a kid that you didn't realize weren't normal for everybody else until you got grown. Like you didn't realize everybody else didn't do that. Like you thought it was cool and it was normal, and then you got grown and you were like, maybe not. Something that I didn't realize wasn't normal. We'll each do one. How about that? Okay, because I got one and I know you
Okay.
got one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lord.
So one for me is in my house as a child, I was not taught that my Christmas presents came from Santa Claus. I never thought that. Like maybe when I first learned about Santa Claus, and I don't even remember the first time I learned about him, but my parents quickly corrected that in my house. And I did not grow up giving credit to Santa Claus for my presents. My parents taught me that they didn't say Santa Claus wasn't real. Now they didn't go that far. But what they said was your presents, the gifts that you get on Christmas, those come from us. Huh? We we get up, we go to work every day. We work hard, we sacrifice to provide this living for you and to give you nice things throughout the year, but also, especially at Christmas, Santa Claus ain't getting the credit for that. You gonna know that came from mama and daddy, and you're gonna have gratitude towards mama and daddy for the nice
That is
things that
hilarious.
they got
Gift,
you. So I was
gift
taught that my
giving
present
with fiscal responsibility.
right. My parents would like put the gratitude in the right place. My parents are
Right.
like, we did that. Your presents come from your mom and your dad, and Santa Claus is just a nice man who comes around at Christmas time.
And does what
That was my
though?
little elementary understanding of who Santa Claus was. I was like, okay.
But that's kind of creepy if he just comes around one day a year. Like what is he doing in the middle of the
don't
night if he's not
don't
giving
don't
gifts?
ask 4 or 5 year old Melanie to think too deeply about this, okay? She didn't have those questions at the time. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. He comes around. Maybe I thought he was the one that put the candy in the stockings. I don't know. But like the gifts under the tree, no, that was mom and daddy. That was
So what
definitely
did
mom
you
and daddy.
so what did you do when you went to school and all the kids came back like Santa gave me this and Santa gave me that for Christmas? Like what did you
Hey, listen, I don't know what goes on in your house. Santa might have given you your presents. In my house, as for me in my house, the people who give the gifts in this house, their names are such and such and such and such, okay? So
right,
yeah,
right.
I didn't get it
The good reverend and the good doctor.
right. I minded my black owned business with that. I said, hey, I don't live in your house. Maybe you and your parents and Santa got something different going on. But tell the people about yours because you got a doozy.
Oh my gosh. So, because I was thinking about yours, and you were like, don't wonder what 4 or 5 year old Melanie was asking. I was just like, maybe we should have asked more questions. I definitely should have asked more questions because my family's crazy, y'all. And for years growing up, first of all, I believed in Santa Claus until I was 11 years old. Okay. It was ruined for
Okay.
me Christmas 11 years old. Right. But I was in for a penny, in for a pound. I was shocked to know that Black people actually left milk and cookies out for Santa
Mm-hmm.
when they wanted gifts. Like that wasn't something that happened in my house. So I went home and I said, Mama, this sucks. Like you don't ever put out milk and cookies for Santa. And my mother, God bless her dramatic soul, my mother goes into a full act and she says something of the following: girl, Santa don't want no milk and cookies when he come to our house. By the time Santa got to our house, he has drank milk and cookies all night. The milk is probably curdled, them cookies is probably stale. And
Oh
our
Lord.
house, yeah, it was all bad. Like she made these cookies sound like hell, okay? And she said he probably doesn't want any more cookies because our house is the last house he comes to before he returns back to the
Mm.
North Pole.
It was an
And she
elaborate
said,
tale. Okay.
yeah, it was elaborate, baby. And she said, Dad'll probably want 2 fingers before he goes back to the North Pole. And I said, really? Now, put a pin in this. What you have to know contextually is that my great grandfather, may he rest in peace, he would drink nothing but 100 proof Old Forester.
Ooh.
But every time he came to my grandmother's house, somebody would pour him 2 fingers of Old Forester. He would talk his talk, check in with the family, slide some money in your palm. You give him a
Mhm.
glass of water, and he would stay there. He would stand by the kitchen sink for about a half hour, 30 minutes, checking in with everybody. And then he'd be like, all right, sugar, granddaddy got to go. Got to go. And he would chug the Old Forester, toss it back, and he would chug the water. And he would walk out the door and go on to his next destination. Because every time I saw Daddy Bill, okay? My mom is making me recall that because Santa Claus, basically Daddy Bill was like a black Santa Claus. And so I was like, okay, he drove a station wagon. So that kind of resembled, in my little mind, it resembled the sleigh and the reindeers or
Oh
whatever, right?
gosh.
And so when she said that we should leave Santa Claus 2 fingers of Jack Daniels at night before I go to bed in order to get to the Christmas parents, that made sense to me, Melanie. And for 3 to 4 years after, every Christmas, I would leave 2 fingers Jack Daniels for Santa Claus on a table by the Christmas tree. One year, my mother had gotten elaborate, and she was like, "Girl, Santa," because I think she didn't feel like putting like the pieces to the toys together. And so she said, "Girl, Santa came in here and he was fucked up." She was like, "He was off his joint."
Oh
And
god.
and she took me to the liquor cabinet. She said, "See, when we poured his 2 fingers, it was at this level, but you see how far down it has gone." And I was like, "Oh, Santa was in a bad way. Like
Dang, Santa was over there going in, huh?
he was going in." But yeah, but
That's why
for
you didn't have no
legit,
toys assembled.
I didn't have no toys assembled. But legit, I genuinely thought that my house was the last house, and Santa needed his 2 fingers before he returned home to the North Pole. And I left them 2 fingers for 3 or 4 good years straight. I'm not lying to you.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's a lot of things that I think when you think about, you reflect. I know y'all probably got some too, everybody that's listening, like stuff
Absolutely.
that was in your house that you like, dang, does everybody do that? If you think long and hard about it, you probably gonna come up with one or two that everybody doesn't do, and you think that's normal.
Real quick, it was news to me when people were eating holiday dinners at like like noon or whatever. I was like, we don't eat until it's real dark and good outside.
Till 8 p.m., huh?
Just terrible.
Yeah, and for me, I didn't
Right.
realize that people consider mac and cheese like a must-have side dish for holidays. Because in my family, we had several traditional holiday side dishes, but mac and cheese was not a standard part of our traditional holiday meal. And so I didn't know that like you could get cussed out for that, for not having mac and cheese at the holiday meal until I got grown, good and grown. So
Good girl.
okay, look,
Well, I mean,
we almost out of time here, but I got to bring
okay,
up something because I told you we were going to educate you on this show, right? Holly and I
okay.
promised. We promised that this show was going to be both entertaining and informative. And for
Absolutely.
this installment of I'm Cackling, huh? It's both entertaining and it's informative. I have to say, you probably think that I'm a jerk for laughing at this, and it's okay. I'll take that. I don't care. I'm still cackling because it's
Okay.
not me. Now, the people that would be involved in this, it's not funny to them. But I can sit back and laugh from this privileged position. So I'm scrolling through my Apple News feed. I come across an article, and it's appropriate to mention to you guys for Christmas as we are at Christmas time. I just want to encourage you guys to be careful out there as you're celebrating this holiday season and as you're thinking about your family traditions, being adults, because the headline of this article reads Risk of penile fractures rises at Christmas, doctors find. Researchers,
Okay.
here's the
Wait.
subtitle. Wait. Let me get it out, friend. Let me get it out. You heard me correctly. Y'all heard what I said, and I said what I said. Here's the subtitle. Researchers suspect euphoria and intimacy of season may be behind the spike in cases. Look,
Wow.
okay. Just listen, continue to listen, okay? I'm going to read you a little bit of this. You can't make this up. Apparently, this was a study that was done by the British Journal of Urology, and a lot of the test suspects or subjects rather came from Germany, where like Christmas is, as it is in most places in the world, celebrated.
And that's what makes it suspect, but continue.
Okay, now it says, it may be the season of loving and giving, but doctors have warned against embracing this spirit too enthusiastically. They have discovered that the Christmas period is associated with a significantly increased risk of penile fractures, a medical emergency in which the erection producing regions of the penis snap, usually as a result of forceful bending during over enthusiastic sexual intercourse. I'll continue. This injury tends to occur during, this is a quote, by the way, by this doctor at the University of Munich. He says, this injury tends to occur during wild sex, particularly in positions where you're not in direct eye contact with your partner, such as the reverse cowgirl. Then he goes on to say, the fractures are often heralded by an audible crack, followed by severe pain, rapid loss of erection, and severe swelling and bruising. When the patients present to their doctor, their penis often looks like an eggplant. End quote.
That's not funny, and I'm so sorry I laughed.
Ooh, child, but it is funny. Listen,
Okay.
y'all out here doing too much during the holidays. This here is not normal. If your penis fractures around Christmas, I want to tell you as an adult, that's not something that everybody experiences around Christmas. Let's not have that be a holiday tradition for y'all.
Fellas, let's keep our candy canes intact this holiday, if we may.
What's your first reaction, friend?
My first reaction is I am in literal tears because, and this is a different episode for a totally different day. I have actually been a part of a situation where, yes, I have been a part of a situation where a gentleman broke his penis.
Ooh.
And it wasn't me. I'm going to tell this story on a different day at a different time to make sure y'all come back to our next episode of Dip Sweet and Hot.
So it actually, so what you're saying is it's not just theory and a study that was done in Germany.
No, it can't happen.
This actually, happen. You know somebody that this happened to.
I remember it was yesterday.
Oh, I remember, my God. See, I bet y'all didn't know that. Look, I told you were going to learn. How many of y'all didn't know that it was possible to break? Because I know people are like, it's not a bone, like it's not an actual bone. So like,
it can happen.
Like, I bet you there's a whole lot of people out there that are like, I didn't even know that it could break.
And I bet people didn't even know that our holiday show was going to take this particular turn.
Look, don't get too overly aggressive out here this holiday season. It says that 43% more penile fractures occur. Like, well, actually, the exact quote was, if every day was like Christmas, 43% more penile fractures would have occurred in Germany during the test period, which was 2005 and 2021. That's what, 16 years of a study?
But I'm gonna tell you what that tells me. If I were to do a Freakonomics thing, I think that we should lower the gift giving threshold. Listen, if you're giving me a car for Christmas, like a luxury car for Christmas, I'm gonna break your penis. I'm gonna do that.
Oh, wow.
We have to lower the gift giving threshold. Like if you give,
we can't be so excited about the receiving of the gift that happens. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, y'all. We just wanted to leave you with a little something that we're cackling about. I'm hoping that you can laugh too, because this doesn't actually happen to you. Consider this your fair warning, friends, for the holiday season. Because here's the thing, if it does happen to you, apparently you'll be in good company. And if y'all want to read more about this article, it's in The Guardian, published, looks like it was just published recently, like a couple of days ago. So y'all be safe out there this holiday season.
Yes.
Enjoy your holiday traditions. with your family. We're certainly going to enjoy ours, as unique as they might be to our families. We love them. Yeah, and I'm wishing y'all the best as you
And
celebrate whatever holiday
yeah,
you celebrate this season.
and friends, just remember to, it's better to suck on candy canes and to, than to chew them and to do other things with them. And, because they're a festive treat. Be careful how you handle your rum balls. Okay. All right,
Said
then.
that, y'all. She actually said it. And with that, we gonna get out of here. I'm Melanie Lauren.
And I'm Holly Chanel, and this has
And this
been
is
Dip.
With Sweet and Hot.
All right now.